everyone, welcome to Barca News and welcome to the post-match live analysis where we analyze Barcelona matches as soon as they end. Today we're starting a couple of hours late, or 2.5 hours late, because I did have to work. But I did watch the match. I watched the full match and then I had to finish some work, and now I'm here ready to talk about the Champions League match between Barcelona and Slavia Praha, where Barcelona won 2-4 with two golazos, two amazing goals by the Ferminator, and then another golazo by Dani Olmo, and finally a fourth goal by Robert Lewandowski to seal Barcelona's victory and to take home three very, very, very crucial and important points. Today, Barcelona needed to win. There was no question about it. A draw or a loss would not have been good enough. Obviously, a loss is never good enough. But today, Barcelona needed to win. Why? In order to increase our chances to finish in the top 8. Because as you know, the top 8 teams on that Champions League table get to qualify directly to the round of 16. The next 16 teams that are not in the top 8, they have to play two knockout matches, or two playoff matches. And even though I believe that if Barcelona does go to the playoff matches, I think they could still win and qualify to the round of 16. That's still 2 extra matches that it's better that you don't play, because the calendar is already pretty busy. The calendar is already hectic. Barcelona's already playing so many matches, a match every 2-3 days. The last thing we want to do is add another 2 matches to that very hectic calendar. So it's much better to qualify directly to the round of 16 and avoid having to play those 2 playoff matches. So today, a victory was absolutely necessary, was absolutely needed, and that's exactly what Barcelona achieved. Now, let's look at the table, because thanks to Barcelona's victory, we are now 9th. We are 9th, 1 position away from being top 8 and qualifying directly to the round of 16. Of course, in number 1, we have Arsenal, then Bayern Munich, Madrid, Liverpool, Tottenham, PSG, Newcastle, Chelsea. Now, if you look at the points, PSG, Newcastle, Chelsea, and Barca have all the same amount of points. So if Barcelona win the last Champions League match, which will be next week against Copenhagen at home, then Barcelona could technically jump all the way to 6th position, assuming that these bottom 3, the 6th, 7th, and 8th position, drop points. Now, here's the good news for Barca. PSG and Newcastle will be playing each other next week. What does that mean? That means that one of them will drop points, or maybe both. If PSG win, Newcastle drop 3 points, Barcelona can take Newcastle's spot and qualify directly to the round of 16. If PSG loses, same thing. Barcelona takes PSG's spot. If the 2 draw, the 2 of them drop points, and if Barcelona win, Barcelona can surpass the 2 of them. So right now, Barcelona in 9th position, 1 match left, Copenhagen at home. If we win and we get those 3 points, there's a really good chance that we finish top 8 and avoid that 2 playoff matches and go directly into the round of 16. So, very, very important, today's victory. Today's victory was incredibly important. It was very much needed, and that's exactly what Barcelona achieved. Now, let's talk about the actual match, because, of course, as always, I do like to talk about first the lineup, then we discuss the general sensation of the team, and then finally we discuss specific players. But let's look at first the lineup that Hansi Flick chose for today's match before we can talk about the general sensation of the team. Now, today, this is the lineup that Hansi Flick chose. We have, of course, Joan Garcia in goal, Koundé and Balde as our 2 fullbacks. Gerard Maldini back in that starting lineup right next to Eddie Garcia. Pau Cubarsí today not playing. Then we have Frankie de Jong and Pedri in the double pivot. We had Fermin Lopez in the attacking midfield position. Rooney Bardghji and Rafinha as our 2 wingers. And Robert Lewandowski as our center forward. Of course, today, Lamine Yamal not available, serving suspension, and then Ferran Torres, who is injured. So Lewy taking his place, and of course, Rooney Bardaji taking the place of Lamine Yamal. Now that's the lineup. Let's talk about the general sensation of the team because I was not too happy with today's match. On one hand, I'm very happy with the victory. I'm very happy with the 3 points. We needed that victory, but not too happy with the general sense general sensation that I got from this match because today's match was not an easy victory. Now, I don't want to say the team suffered, but they were definitely not comfortable against a Slavia Praha that was very, very highly motivated, that they started the match very motivated. And of course, they were at home. They have the backing of the home crowd. They had, they're going against Barcelona, so they're always going to be motivated. So Slavia Praha started the match very, very motivated. And Barcelona started the match the complete opposite. The team did not look like they were that motivated to play this match. And I get it. It was very cold. They say it was -6 or -7 Celsius, so it was below freezing. You're talking about a team that's at the bottom of the Champions League table. So very difficult to get motivated against a much weaker side and to get motivated in an away stadium where the temperatures are below 0. So I get that part. But this is the Champions League, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care how weak the team is. I don't care how cold it is. You have to start the match and continue throughout the match with full intensity. You cannot come out like this, half asleep at the wheel, kind of like somewhat motivated just because it's a weaker side and it's pretty cold outside. That is not acceptable, especially when you take into consideration that Barcelona are not in the top 8. If this was the final match of the group stages and Barcelona are already through to the next stages, sure, come out asleep, whatever. We don't care. But no, you're not even in the top 8, and you're coming out like, man, I don't really care too much about this match, blah, blah, blah. And that I did not like a lot. And as a result, we saw the first half where Barcelona really were not, they struggle, right? They got scored on immediately in the corner kick. Fermin Lopez scores one hell of a goal and scores 2 hell of a goals. And then right away, Barcelona draw. A very, very bad first half by Barcelona. And of course comes the other thing that I want to talk about, which is defending. Because those 2 corner kicks were defended very, very horribly. Okay, the 2 corner kicks came the same way. A ball to either the near or the far post, and then some loose player in the box that's there to push it in. That cannot happen. Now, I always talk about how Barcelona is always going to suffer defensively because they attack with all 11 players, because they advance their line so much, because they're such an offensive team. They're always going to leave space in the back, so they're always going to suffer defensively. But a corner kick, there's no excuse, right? A corner kick is not a result of you advancing your lines or of you attacking with all your players. A corner kick happens to anyone, whether you're offensive or defensive team. A corner kick should be defended properly by any team, regardless whether you're offensive or defensive team. So there's no excuse. This is not like Barcelona was attacking with all 11 players and all of a sudden the long ball goes to the back of our defenders and it's like, oh crap, what do? I got caught with my pants down around my ankles and now I have to run back and pray for the best. No, that whole team, our entire squad is in our box defending a corner kick, which it's coming. It's not catching you off guard, right? There's the corner. The player even signals when he's about to kick the corner kick. And there's absolutely no excuse for that because both corner kicks were defended horribly, and as a result, Barcelona conceded 2 goals. Now, an interesting fact, Slavia Praha had scored 2 goals in the entire Champions League, and now they scored the same amount of goals against us. And again, it all comes because the lack of the concentration of the team. This is not something we can blame our defense on. This is something that we blame that entire team on because that entire team was in the box and the entire team was defending. So as a block, the team failed. And it was nothing more than lack of concentration. Why? Because, again, this team came out half asleep. They thought, oh, much weaker opponent. It's pretty cold outside. I don't have to try. And it was a pretty horrendous first half. Now, the second half, Barcelona did improve a little bit and then gained 2 more goals, and we took the victory home. But overall, I did not really walk away from this match with that great sensation where I was like, wow, yeah, we dominated, we killed everything. I mean, I think we got the victory because it's Slavia Praha. We were bound to win. I mean, it's pretty difficult to win against such an inferior opponent. But overall, I did not leave this match with such a great sensation because it is the Champions League. Now, I understand if you're maybe playing the Copa del Rey or La Liga against a much weaker side to come out like this. But in the Champions League, you have to come out swinging, man. You have to come out pedal to the metal, right? Full throttle, 0 to 100. That's how you come out in the Champions League, especially if you're not in the top 8. It's not okay to come out the way the team came out. And thankfully, we were able to pull this victory. But any stronger team, that's not going to happen. You're not going to be able to pull a miracle. Anyways, that was my general sensation. Let's talk about some players that I want to talk about because Fermin Lopez, ladies and gentlemen. We have to talk about Fermin Lopez because Fermin Lopez is no longer, just an academy player who, is pretty good and it's nice to have on the bench and it's nice to have a... That's no longer the case. I think we've gone from, Fermin Lopez, good academy talent, that's great rotational player, to now an undisputable starter, a difference maker, and one of the most important players on the squad because Fermin Lopez is everywhere. Fermin Lopez is attacking. Fermin Lopez is defending. Fermin Lopez comes through the right. Fermin Lopez comes through the left. Fermin Lopez comes to the middle. Fermin Lopez covers every position. It's like he's playing indoor football. He is all over the map. He is all over the field. And Fermin Lopez has become an incredible, very important player for Barcelona, a difference maker, because it's thanks to him that Barcelona were able to turn the tide around. I mean, look at just his goals. The first goal, he comes in as a right winger, making that run from the right. Now, great sequence of play, by the way. Eric Garcia passes it to Rafinha. Great heel pass from Rafinha to Frankie. Beautiful pass, through pass from Frankie to Fermin. And there's Fermin coming in as if he was Lamine Yamal from the right. Takes a beautiful shot and scores that goal. Second goal, he's coming through the middle. Gets the ball right in the middle, puts in an incredible shot from outside the box. And I mean, 2 beautiful goals and the MVP of the match. Because again, Fermin Lopez was everywhere. And he has become such an important player that we no longer can look at Fermin as just some, random academy player that's good to have on the bench or good to rotate or good to give him some minutes. This guy has to start. No doubt. And to think that he cost us absolutely nothing is absolutely amazing. And in fact, Fermin was one of the very few players that worked, honestly, through the first half because the rest of the team wasn't really that impressive. Now, speaking of unimpressive players, Rooney Bardarji. I think a very wasted opportunity for Rooney Bardarji. Now, we've seen what Rooney Bardarji can do. We've seen the quality that he has. Today, a great opportunity for him to start in the place of Lamine Yamal, who's serving a suspension against an inferior squad. I think this was a great opportunity for Rooney Bardarji to shine. He didn't. I thought he wasted this chance. Rafinha, very terrible match, more so when he was moved to the right. He pretty much became invisible. And I think at this point, it's pretty clear Rafinha is a left winger. I don't think Rafinha can play as a right winger again because once he was switched to the right, I mean, Rashford looked better than him, and that's a pretty heavy thing to say because we all know the very little that Rashford has contributed to this team. But not a good match by Rafinha. But again, Rafinha has become one of the most important players. He's allowed to have these bad matches. Robert Lewandowski, he scored a goal. He kind of had an own goal as well. But besides that, not a lot of participation. And then, of course, Pedri. Pedri, ladies and gentlemen, looks like he's injured. He was subbed out due to injury. He was seen limping out of the field once the match is over. Let's hope Pedri is okay because it's not looking good. But speaking of Pedri, today we saw Dani Olmo come in his place. And we had said this before. Right before Dani Olmo's latest injury, because this guy gets injured every 2 days. Right before the latest injury that Dani Olmo had, he played, I think it was 2 matches in that position in the place of Pedri right next to Frankie. And I remember in one of the post-match live analysis, I said, I think we've discovered a new position for Dani because Dani Olmo in those 2 matches did a lot better as one of the pivots as he does as an attacking midfielder. And today, that was exactly the case because when Dani Olmo comes in for Pedri, he looked a lot better in that position than he does in the attacking midfield position. And that's aside from the amazing goal that he had from outside the box, right? So maybe we've found a new position for Dani. And it probably has to do with the fact that now when he plays in the place of Pedri, he has more space, right? When he plays as an attacking midfielder, he's kind of like stuck or jammed right behind our front three. But when he is playing in that double pivot, he has more space, more freedom to drop back down to help with the defense and then attack and make those runs from the second line. And I think that makes him a little bit more dangerous than when he plays as an attacking midfield position. So let's hope Pedri, of course, is not injured for that long, but because Pedri's Pedri, no one's going to be as good as Pedri. He's in his own class. But if he's not, I think if he is injured and he is going to miss some matches, I think Dani Olmo next to Frankie or next to Eric Garcia is a solid option because we've seen that before. We've seen it work out before. So let's see what happens. But of course, either way, I hope and wish that Pedri's injury is a very light one because Pedri is Pedri, right? No matter how good Dani Olmo does in that position or Frankie or whomever, Pedri's Pedri and no one's going to be as good as Pedri. But anyways, that's all I wanted to say. Again, not the best of matches for Barcelona. We needed that victory. We got that victory. Fermin Lopez, absolutely brilliant today. The MVP of the match. By far the best player out of Barcelona by miles and miles and miles. Good match by Eric Garcia, by the way, as well. But at this point, I think we're getting used to Eric Garcia putting out good defensive performances. But that's not much to say. It's Slavia Praha. I think it would have been an absolute travesty if we didn't beat them. But we did. We got the 3 points. And now we are contenders to finish the Champions League in the top 8. Anyways, let me know you guys' thoughts and opinions about today's match. And now let's do some comments and we'll end it. And then after this, we will go live for the podcast. Eddie Rodriguez says, Ferminator, I like it. Yes, he is the Ferminator. Herbert says, what's up, Mo? Our fullbacks suck, man. Oh, my God. Yeah, don't get me started on today's match. As you see, I skipped that because I don't want to get too pissed. But yes, man. Balde and Kunde are so below their levels that it's insane, man. I don't know what's happened to them. I don't know if they forgot how to play football. I don't know if they hit their heads. But Kunde and Balde, man, have been so below their level. It's insane. And we have a donation. Sajuk says, our defense has been crap this season. Nothing to do with the high line. The defensive mistakes at this level will cost us trophies. Except for Eric, all our defenders are making mistakes. Kunde, what the fuck? 100% agree with you today. Like I said, I always say Barcelona are always going to be exposed because of how they play. But today, there's no excuse. Because 2 corner kicks, that has nothing to do with how we play. This has nothing to do with us being an offensive team. It's a fucking corner kick, right? You have the whole team defending in the box. You have the whole team right there knowing when the ball is about to, because it's a corner kick. It's not like you're getting caught off guard. And both corner kicks, they fail miserably. They leave a guy wide open to run into the near post or the far post. And it's like, bro, what are we doing here? But I have to say this. The silver lining is that those 2 mistakes were made today, and this is the time to make them. Because don't think for 1 second that Flick is not going to go back, watch the tapes, analyze what the hell is going wrong, and then go to the team and be like, all right, this is what you guys doing wrong. This is how we're going to fix it. And then they're going to run that play over and over and over again until the players learn how to defend that properly. And this is the time to do it, right? You don't want to be learning from these mistakes in the knockout stages where you end up getting knocked out. You want to do it right now where we still got the victory, we still got the 3 points, and we can still learn from it. So next match, or when we go to the knockout stages, we don't make that mistake again. So that's the silver lining, is that if you want to make a mistake and learn from it, this is the time to do it. You don't want to be learning from your mistakes in a freaking semifinals or the finals, right? So I guess that's the positive spin that I can think of. Sila says our defense needs to improve a lot because it will face a team like Arsenal. It will be a disaster. I agree, my friend. And Miz says we have to throw away the cup because with so many matches and with the squad we have, there are very few options to go far in the Champions League. This is FC Barcelona, my friend. We are not Real Madrid. We don't throw anything away. We go for all of it. This is why we have 2 trebles and a sextuple, something that Madrid has never, ever won. Olmo says, hey, Barcelona, you still want to talk about Olmo? I do, yes. I mean, just because you're a dick rider doesn't mean that we all have to be dick riders as well, right? I mean, this guy, whatever Olmo does well, which is once in a blue moon, he comes out of the woodwork and it's like, Olmo, Olmo. And then when Olmo has terrible matches, like I won against Real Sociedad where he wasted so many chances, this guy disappears. But then he thinks he's like being a smart guy, like, oh, I got you. It's like, no, bro, you're just embarrassing yourself because you're clearly Olmo dick rider. And just because you're a dick rider doesn't mean we're going to be a dick rider, because here in Barca News and people who have, a little bit of intelligence, we know that we judge players on their collective effort, not on what they do one match. That's what dick riders like to do, right? Because they come out and say, oh, look, one match good, he's the best, he's the best. Next 5 matches all bad, they disappear. Now here, we look at players and how they do overall, not one match or one moment or one goal. But anyways, if you want to be a dick rider, that's your choice. I'm sure you enjoy it. So have fun. Eddie says, am I the only one who thinks if Lewandowski doesn't score, he offers very little of anything? I mean, look, Lewandowski is a pure 9. He's your classic center forward. He's someone that shines in the box and someone who needs the ball in the box. He needs someone to serve him balls in the box. And if he do, he's going to convert those into goals, right? That's your classic center forward. What's the problem? Is that Barcelona today struggled to get him the ball in the box. And when they finally did, he scored a goal. So there is some truth to what you say because, yeah, he's not a mobile center forward. He's not someone who's going to drop back and grab the ball and start a play and distribute the ball or provide an assist. That's just not him. You know, if you're expecting that from him, you're expecting that from the wrong person because that's not him. It never was him. It never will be him. So yeah, unless he gets the ball in the box, he's pretty much useless. But that's just the nature of having a pure 9, a classic 9. And plus, you take into consideration that he's 37 years old. He's definitely not going to be a player that's going to be dropping back all match and helping with defensive duties and dropping to the middle of the field to get the ball. He just can't, right? That's why he's become more of a rotational player rather than someone who starts every match. Always Django says, our team is bad, ain't gonna lie, think shit is too poor. I think that's a little bit of an unfair characterization, but there is room for improvement, but I wouldn't say our team is bad or shit. John Williams says, hey, Mo, we don't have a good defense and we must make signings, and most of our goals we conceded usually comes from our fullbacks. Kunde and Balde are our weakest links in this Barca team. And Anthony says, Fermin and Olmo are him. And Chamo Dade says, hey, Mo, what do you think about Fermin and Olmo playing together as an attacking threat from the center? I think it's going to be more, Frankie or Eric, whichever Flick chooses based on who he wants to put in the defense. If he trusts Eric more, then it's going to be Frankie. And if he's okay with Gerard Martin, then it's going to be Eric. But it's going to be Eric / Frankie, Olmo, and then Fermin up front, which is something that Flick has already tried before Olmo's latest injury, and it worked really well. So, yes, it's very, very possible. And now, with Pedri's injury, I think it's going to happen. Bisca Michael says, Pedri wasn't the best because of him constantly getting knocked up. Whoa, he's pregnant? And now Bernal needs to save us next UCL because Frankie can't put out an 8 out of 10 masterclass like today. Here's the thing with Pedri. I think this one is Flick's. I think here we do have to blame Flick on Pedri because Pedri hasn't played a lot. He received a knock not too long ago. Remember, he had to miss a match. And today, with the cold weather, maybe it wasn't the best match for Pedri to start. Maybe this would have been a match where you can have Olmo, who hasn't been getting too much minutes, and maybe bring in Pedri later on if you need it, if the team is struggling. So I think today, I don't think we needed Pedri. It's Slavia Praha. I think we could have done okay with Dani Olmo and Frankie and Fermin. But hopefully it's not a serious injury. We'll see what the update. Of course, we'll know more tomorrow. Today, there's going to be a lot of reports. Just hold off. I'm not saying those reports are false or true, but usually it's a lot more accurate the following day, right? Because tomorrow they're going to do the medical test. They always wait until the second day because the swelling needs to come down. And then once the swelling is down, they can do better imaging. They can see what's going on. And that's when you truly know how bad the injury is. Hopefully, it's nothing serious. Hopefully, he'll be back sooner rather than later. But I think for now, we could play that Dani Olmo and Frankie / Eric in a double pivot. Zeke Travel says, goal difference will likely be relevant. We'll need to overtake Chelsea in goal difference as all teams with 13 points are going to try to score as many as possible. That's true. That's true. Let's look at this again. So, right now, we have PSG with 30 points and they have a 10-goal difference. Newcastle has 10-goal difference. Chelsea has 6 and Barca has 5. So, PSG and Newcastle, they're going head to head. So, someone's goal difference is going to get smaller and someone's goal difference is going to get higher. Assuming, obviously, that there's a winner and a loser and they don't just draw. But again, the fact that these two are playing each other, that gives us a good chance of qualifying as top 8 because they will drop points. One of them or the two of them will drop points. If PSG win, Newcastle drops 3 points. If Newcastle win, PSG drops 3 points. If they draw, they both drop 2 points each. So this is a big, big helper. But yes, we are going to have to score goals because guess who else has 13 points? Sporting CP, Manchester City, Atletico de Madrid, and Atalanta. Now, the good thing is the Atletico and Atalanta have a much lower goal difference, but Sporting CP have the same and Man City have 4, and Man City can, of course, cause damage. Now, let's look at who's playing who because that's also going to be important. Let's see. So here we go. PSG versus Newcastle. Again, this is very good for us because one of them or the two of them will drop. Man City versus Galatasaray. This one worries me a little bit because I think this is a somewhat easy match for Man City. And here Man City can maybe run the scoreline. What other teams we are in competition with? But I'll tell you this. Barcelona versus Copenhagen. On paper, should be an easier match for us than Man City versus Galatasaray. Right? So there we have an advantage. Atletico de Madrid playing against Bodo, this worries me because I think here Atletico de Madrid can really run the score against Bodo. But the good thing, Atletico de Madrid's goal difference is only 1. So they have 4 goals less than us. Let me see what else. Chelsea and Napoli. I don't know how much can Chelsea run the score on Napoli. I mean, today they barely won by 1 goal. And we're talking about Napoli, who might not be doing that great in the Champions League. They still have a solid defense. So I think our odds are good. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but our chances are good. As long as we win, and we win by a comfortable margin, I think we got this. But anyways, so let's do one more comment, and then we'll end this because I do have to prepare the podcast. But KZX7T says, Barca, do you think this Joe Fernandez situation has caused more drama than it should have? No, I don't think it's caused drama at all. He decided to leave. He told the club he's leaving, and now he's leaving. I don't see what drama it has caused. And Barca Gel says, well, we played very bad in the first half. Pedri and Rooney were absolutely invisible. Martin created 4 goal scoring opportunities for the opponent in the first 30 minutes. He was saved by the others. Yeah, definitely bad first half by Barcelona. Very, they were lacking the concentration a lot and intensity. And that was, for me, a little bit disappointing because you're playing the Champions League and you're not in the top 8. Like, I expected the team to come out swinging, and that's not what they happened. And I get it. It's Slavia Praha, who wants to get motivated against Slavia Praha. And I get it. It was below freezing temperatures, but sorry, that's not good enough excuse. You know, you're not top 8 in the Champions League. You have to come out full swing. This match should have been put away in the first half. But instead, we ended the first half 2-2. Like 2-2 against Slavia Praha. Did we not learn anything against Real Sociedad? Anyways, that is all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will be doing the podcast in like the next 30 or 40 minutes. I got to go prepare it. So stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, Viscarsa.